Thank you so very much, Hafez. It's a great day again. Today is a Friday, and today is the 11th of August 2023. And we are again meeting here as usual at our usual time to have this discussion. You are all most welcome. And the topic is about the coup d'etat that we had around the 26th of July in Niger. And the repercussions thereof, the reactions that have come on those who staged the coup. And we want to get into it and then get back into a bit of history and find out why we are still having coups d'etat in the West African zone, in the ECOWAS zone. Now, ECOWAS stands for the Economic Community of West African States. It's located in the western side. I'll call it the occiput of Africa. And ECOWAS is made up of 15 countries. There were 15 countries, but there used to be 16. But one of them, Mauritania, opted out because they claim they are Arabs, they are with the Arab Union, and so they cannot be with the Arabs and then be with ECOWAS, again. So we are 15 states, and with a population of about 400 million people. We have that population of 400 million people. In fact, the population of the 15 states that make ECOWAS is bigger than the population of all the 50 states of the United States combined. The United States has 50 states. We have 15, 10 plus 5, 15. The United States is about 330 million people. The ECOWAS has 400 million people. So together, we are bigger than the United States of America. Now, most of the countries there were actually colonized by the Europeans, the French, the Germans, Italians, and in the case of the ECOWAS region, mostly we had the Germans came sometime, then later the British, then of course you have the French. But from about 1957, we started having our independence. Of course, we had so-called colonial powers, taking charge of the politics and the economy, or economists of all the countries here. And the colonial powers, the reason why they came was to plunder the resources of this area and the rest of Africa. All the places that they colonized, it was because they wanted the resources that we had. Now, after the Second World War, 39-45, there were a lot of agitations, and we had our independence, starting with Ghana, and the other countries followed suit. Of course, the colonial powers did not want to, easily leave their colonies and then go like that. So it took a lot of demonstrations. Ghana came first, then the other countries followed. Britain was, the colonial power in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Gambia, And then France was in Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and Guinea, The French in particular did not want to give independence to their particular colonies. They had a different approach. They were talking of what they call assimilation. They wanted the countries to be there and still have some linkages with France, and even appoint members of parliament to the French, parliament up there. And then Guinea took the lead and said, no, they wanted total independence. The French got mad and annoyed and came and collected everything from that country away. In any case, when you look at it, after we had independence, these colonial powers were not satisfied with our having our independence, because the first group of rulers and presidents and prime ministers that came, they were nationalistic. They wanted us to take command and control of our own affairs and then start to industrialize, use the resources that we had, and then industrialize. But these colonial powers like France, and Britain in particular, they were not happy about it. They didn't want any of their former colonies to industrialize and start using their resources in those countries, because they were still looking for getting the raw material to their countries and then, turning them into finished products and bringing them back to the former colonized areas and come and sell them. So anytime they saw somebody who was, from their point of view, who was being smart and wise, they organized and came and overthrew you. So after Ghana had independence in 1957, the other countries followed, as I told you. Then a time came that these colonial powers started, engineering and getting, people who were nationalistic, our first leaders, they were staging all manner of coups. So Nkrumah was overthrown. Nigeria, there was a coup. Wherever they went, there was a coup d'etat in all of them. And most of them were instigated by these former colonial powers. They were doing that because they didn't want any person they considered to be, smart or wise, or who wanted to, use the resources of the various former colonies for the benefit of the people. They didn't want it that way. They wanted those colonies to continue to harvest or mine the raw material that they had and then send them to them. So we'll go and cut your timber and send it to them. They will send them to finished goods. You get your iron, you send it to them. You get your gold, you send it. You get your cocoa, you send it. They'll make chocolate and all that. That's what they wanted. So there were a spate of coups d'etat. And those coups d'etat were engineered against, the nationalists, minded, our first leaders. Nkrumah, like this, wanted to industrialize Ghana very fast. From our independence, within 2-3 years, Ghana had more than 400 factories. So the CIA got together with the MI6, the intelligence agencies of Britain and America, and then they engineered and removed Nkrumah. So those were the first types of coups d'etat. And you also recall that the time Ghana had its independence, the people were not smart. There was no TV. Not many people had radios. There weren't many newspapers. The main newspaper that we had was Graphic. And Graphic was produced in Accra. The roads were not good. Graphic couldn't go through to everybody, And then we had only one radio station, GBC, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So news was not going that fast and smart to the people. Besides, the level of education of the people was very, very low. So it was easy for a group of people just to seize power, seize a radio station. Those days, staging a coup meant going to the broadcasting station and then seize it and start talking. That's all. Then you start, spewing up your ideas and telling all sorts of lies and propaganda against the overthrown government. So it was very easy to stage coups those days. But then what happened? Those people who staged those coups, mostly the army, the coup that removed Nkrumah was in 1966. And that coup was actually staged, it was a coalition of the Ghana army and the Ghana police who actually got together and staged that coup and removed Nkrumah. But they stayed for some time and then they handed over to Busia. 66 to 1969, they handed over to Busia. Then some other soldiers who felt that, so these people, they were able to stage a coup, then we can stage a coup. So the officers in the barracks, the soldiers who were there, especially if they commanded, battalions and all that, and they were around the capital, anytime we had a civilian government, they saw it as a chance for them also to stage a coup d'etat and then also come and become president. And that is how come we had the second coup in Ghana, which was in 1972 by Achampon. But before then, there was a foiled coup. There was a failed coup d'etat around 67 or so. So Achampon staged his coup. He called it Operation Cold Chop. So I'm saying that the first coups d'etat that we had, in the ECOWAS region, were engineered by the former colonial masters. But later, then there was a second wave of coups d'etat, which were staged by soldiers because they felt they had the arms and that they too could become heads of state and presidents. They virtually had no agenda. For example, when Achampon staged his coup in 1972, he said, the hypocrisy of the Busia regime had been detected. That was all. That the hypocrisy of the Busia regime had been detected. That was what he said. It was a bloodless coup. He just went to the radio, announced that was all. He became head of state like that. Then there was another thing about these military coups. Mostly they were staged by colonels. And these colonels, they commanded the battalions. And anytime they came, quickly they started promoting themselves from colonel before you know he's brigadier, he's major general, he's lieutenant general. They never went through the various courses, that prepared them to become general. They just promoted themselves like that. And so there was a lot of problem within the army and the military and the security services, because your junior officer who was a major will stage a coup before you know he's a general. And then the senior officer will start to salute him. So that was that type of coup. But then this second wave of coups of military men who just felt that, look, we can stage the coup and also be presidents. They became even more corrupt, because the first coups that came, they tried to say that the civilians who were in power, for example, Nkrumah, when the National Liberation Council, came of the first coup of 1966, they claimed that he was corrupt. But they came, nobody, Nkrumah even didn't have a bank account. He had no money anywhere. He had nothing. He didn't have a house. He had nothing. So later, the second wave of coups, anytime they came, they would say that the previous government was corrupt. But later we got to find out that this second wave of military men who were coming only came so that they will be in charge of the resources of state, promote themselves from majors to generals, and then acquire wealth, ostentatious wealth. This was what was going on until from 72, a champion then came. And by that time, in fact, in 1966, I was even a cadet corporal. Then by 69, I joined the Security and Intelligence Service. So 1972 coup, I was actually around when a champion staged his coup. It was bloodless. He wasn't even carrying a pistol. He just went to the radio and announced and became, was successful with his coup. The National Redemption Council came, Then the soldiers came, started amassing wealth more than the civilians. That was when we had a third wave of other coups d'etat, exemplified by what Rawlins did in 1979, the June 4th. Because the soldiers, the young soldiers who were in the army saw that their seniors seized power and said that the previous government that they overthrew were corrupt. But they were more corrupt. Ostentatious living, it was crazy. I was there with the security service. I was a senior intelligence analyst and security analyst and even an operative. And I saw everything. So that is how come we had a third wave of coups d'etat. And those third waves of coups d'etat were led by Rawlins. Now, I'm saying that the first wave of coups d'etat were immediately after independence, where the colonial powers felt that, the new wave of presidents and prime ministers and heads of state that we had, most of them whom had had education in Europe and America, they were trying to lead us on the right path. And they didn't want it like that. They felt that we would take command and control over our resources and they would not be able to get the raw materials. So they got African soldiers to overthrow those first wave of rulers that we had, Tafawa Balewa, Nkrumah, and all those, Sekou, a whole lot of top guys. They were all overthrown by the French. It was the French, the Americans, and the British who did that first wave. I'm saying the second wave of coups d'etat, as exemplified by the one by a champion who came in 72, was another new dimension altogether. The soldiers found out that, we can just stage a coup. They didn't need it. When you stage the coup and then you take command and control of the radio and the TV, you can tell any lies about the previous government. We had that. Then the third wave of coups were those that were staged by Rawlins, who said that, the soldiers themselves came and they were even more corrupt. So they came in 1979, they stayed only for 3 months and handed over to a civilian government. Then in 1981, 31st December, they came again. And when they came, they then started talking about what they call probity, accountability, transparency, and all those things. That was what 31st December did. So I would say that Rawlins was the one who brought a new dimension of coups d'etat to stop the soldiers from coming and then seizing power and enriching themselves. And the 31st December coup was actually labeled as a coup. He didn't say it was a coup. He said it was a revolution against all revolutions. He was there for almost 20 years. And then pressure from all over came on Ghana, and then the Rawlings and his group at that time, the PNDC. And we had to go to, popular democracy. People were tired. Whether you came to sanitize the people or not, because they also came and they committed a lot of atrocities. When people killed people, slaughtered people, anybody who was against the PNDC, you were killed. You were slaughtered. So people were against them. And they said, we should go back to democracy. So I'm using Ghana because the Ghana example is what is all over the whole ECOWAS. Because when Rawlings came and started removing, those who were there and then amassing wealth, it replicated itself in Burkina Faso when Sankara came. And the other young guys in Guinea, Gambia, Niger and all that. A similar thing. Say anytime a young soldier came and removed, either soldiers in power or corrupt civilians, most of them ran to Rawlings in Ghana to come and say, look, what you have done in Ghana is very good. So that was another dimension of coups d'etat, which was led by Rawlings, which I will call the third wave of coups d'etat. Now we said, no, we are tired of these coups. Anybody who comes with a coup, whether it was probity, accountability, transparency, a coup is a coup. Because even Rawlings' time, people who were there PNDC for almost 20 years, they also made a lot of money and they were corrupt. So we said, no, let us go back to democracy. And that is how come we went into democracy. And we started since 92. In fact, it started on the 7th of January 1993. Ghana has gone in and we have stabilized up right from that time, experimenting the democratic, sort of system. And you can see when it comes to the politics of the whole ECOWAS, even Africa, a lot of countries are referring to Ghana, the stability in Ghana so far. But another new dimension is coming all over, all over the states of, the ECOWAS region, the 15 countries in the ECOWAS region, and even beyond in the rest of Africa. Because the politicians who have come using what they term as democracy and they have come to power, it has been seen that they are even more corrupt than those who stay in the coups d'etat. They are more corrupt. They have become sophisticated. They have ways of, getting people, trying to employ. For example, if we look at the Ghana example, the government that we have had, they will seize, in fact, every voting time in Ghana and most African states in the ECOWAS region is even more than coup d'etat. In Nigeria, people are killed. There is bribery. There is corruption. People steal ballot boxes and kill themselves, just like coups d'etat. See, and we have seen that a lot of people who are rich are investing into ways and means of coming to power to plunder and loot the resources of all these ECOWAS states. That is what is happening now. You see, most elections, there is almost no difference between an election in a West African state or an ECOWAS state and a coup d'etat. In fact, some elections, which we call democratic elections, are even more bloody than coups d'etat. More people are killed. The last election in Ghana in 2020, 13 people lost their lives. You see, 13 people. So a new dimension is coming. Now, we also thought that democracy would come and sort of be a measure of lifting up the hopes, of the youth. Because we have over 60 to 70% of the people in the ECOWAS region are young people. They are well educated. Now we have ways and means of internet, Twitter, Facebook. News is all over the place. With your phone, you can watch anything. You will know what is happening everywhere. It's not like those days when information flow was very slow. Also, education. More people are educated now. More people are educated in Ghana than when we had our independence. When in the whole of the northern region, now we have 5 regions in the northern part of Ghana. All those regions, at the time of independence, we didn't have more than 3 people who were graduates. But now, almost every house in Ghana, even in the Upper West, has a graduate. At least every village, you'll find somebody with a university degree there. So now it is very easy to set up, get information. Now, these politicians, they promise all manner of things. Get the youth, they run around, they sweat, they toil. When they come to power, the youth have forgotten. Well, what is democracy to? What are the things that democracy should deliver? Because if democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people, it means when you come, the basic tenets of the principles that underscore what we call democracy, like freedom of speech and gathering and association, that there should be easy access to all forms of education. You should have easy access to health. You should have the basic things that will make life good for you. They should all be there. You should have employment. But these people, these politicians, are now money bags who deceive the people. Come when they get power, then they go and engineer contracts, award the contract to themselves, loot the money, then go to the black market, and then change the cedis into dollars. And then the dollar will collapse. The economy will collapse. And then you have cronyism. And then nepotism. So these are the things that are happening. And the youth of today, they are very well educated. They are well educated. So if there is going to be problems in the whole of the ECOWAS, it is going to come from the youth. That is why you see the uprisings in Burkina Faso, for example. The uprising that is there, the soldiers came, and the youth are saying, we support you. Because most of the leaders now, some will come, commit all manner of blunders and atrocities, and they want to change the constitution, and they stay there. People say, and when they say, oh, this man want to change the constitution so that he will stay 3, 4, 5 terms. That time they said that. I heard a lot of some presidents and some West Africans, including Ghana. Oh no, this president said, no, as for me, I don't want to stay for, I'm not going to change the term and stay for 3 more than the period I have, Ghana like this, 2 terms. I said, no. Anybody who tells you that the youth are not happy about people and the schools are staying because people have changed the constitution and they'll stay more are not very right. They are not at all. They do not know how to analyze issues. What is happening is that those who want to change the constitution and stay longer than their allotted period by the constitution itself are those who have been corrupt, who have collected corrupt money, who have committed atrocities, and who don't want to leave the scene because they are afraid that when they are not there, they will investigate and jail them. In Ghana today, all the youth, what they want is education, good health, agriculture. They can get loans to go and do their businesses. If you can provide that, and you want to stay for 1 million years, they don't mind you. They won't mind. With the experience that the youth have got, if you are somebody who will deliver, they don't care how long you stay. The problem is about those who will come, nothing is being delivered, they will use propaganda and tell lies, and then they want to change their term and then stay again. I'll tell you another thing. In the present day ECOWAS region, there is no sensible person in any barracks, a soldier or security, who wants to stage a coup. There is none. I'm the one telling you, there is none. It isn't that we don't have adventurous people. We have some people that are very adventurous, but they are listening. They are watching. They cannot get up like those days to say, I have staged a coup, because the people rise against you. Because everybody is against coups d'etat. The coups have come, the people, the soldiers, they were wet, they were more corrupt. Nobody wants it that way. Now, so soldiers who would have come and then stage coups d'etat, they know, one, when you stage a coup, the people themselves may say, no, we don't want coups, you people came, you did nothing. That's number one. Number two is that even to stage a coup now, for example, let's take Ghana, it's going to be difficult for any soldier to stage a coup in Ghana because in the army, we have 2 main political parties, the MPP and the NDC. Both the MPP and NDC, they have infested the army with their supporters. So you will never know who you will go to. So a lot of people who might be planning, they'll be afraid. Because we have an equal number of MPP in the Ghana army, just as we have NDC. Even though at the top level we say, no, the army, we don't have them. But we know, because a lot of them have been employed. When MPP comes and they employ a group of young men, they become soldiers, they will by all means, paternalism. This man employed me, so I support him. They do that. I was in the security service. I was a top, security analyst for the National Security Council of Ghana. So I know what I'm talking about. So that one deters everybody. For example, if you go to the present government, those that they will put in very sensitive places to man the most sensitive equipment and armaments are their core supporters. So you cannot come and easily overthrow the government right now. Anytime NDC, another party comes to power, it's the same thing, because all those who are in those sensitive places, driving and manning all those top guns and big, armor personnel carriers, APCs and all those things. If a new government, they will remove all those commanders and officers and also put their people. So it is a check, because before you stay, you have to look at the opposition that you will get. That is one thing. The second thing is that the people of Ghana will tell you that, my friend, we don't want any soldier to come there. That's number two. Number three is that ECOWAS will tell you that we don't want anybody to stay a coup. That's the third one. Number four is that the OAU, African Union, will tell you that we don't want anybody to stay a coup. So the soldier will say, Charlie, wherever you go, there is a problem. Then you have the United Nations. They'll tell you that don't make coup. So now the soldiers, because they have gone to school and they can analyze things, they will sit down and look at it. And they say that, Charlie, it's not easy to stay a coup because there are so many barriers. Then apart from that, those days, there were some young boys. They knew nothing. They were very, childish, innocent people. People can deceive them, they say a coup. Now, most of those people, they have died. Most of them have been killed. Jiwa and Co, many, plenty. Some have been jailed. So the young ones who are now in the army, for example, they can read. And they see social media. And so they won't get involved in that type of thing. But I can tell you that a new wave of danger is coming throughout the whole of the ECOWAS region. And this danger is being nursed and then propped up. It is being fed, it is fattened and perpetuated by the very political powers that we have been elected to ensure that we have democracy. Because they are liars. They are liars. They tell lies to the youth. We will come and give you jobs. When we come, we will move from taxation to production. We will do this, we will do that. All of them are lies. Both parties that we have. When they are in opposition, their eyes open. They tell you the right thing. Right now, the NDC is in opposition. They will know the right thing to tell you. But who can tell what they will do if they come to power, for example, in 2024 next year? Can you tell? Look at the sweet things that the MPP told you. And most of the parties in the whole ECOWAS, it is the same. You go to Nigeria, it is the same thing. A gang of liars. And they have now sort of mastered the art of, winning elections. One, go and get, influential people. When you come to power, you quickly bribe them. Look at when MPP was in opposition. We had a lot of people castigating and criticizing the NDC that was in power. Where are all those journalists? Where are all those voices? The MPP who is now in power has come up with a brilliant idea. Get all of them. Get them presidential advisors, put them here and there. Most of them are earning between 40 and 50,000 cedis a month. They will not talk. Do you hear their voices? They will never talk. But you see, when you also do this, and they use propaganda to think propaganda will win you the love of the people, it is a lie. You use propaganda to think that you are convincing everybody. It is not true. It won't work. Propaganda won't work. And some of us who are there, for example, when MPP was there, I was a principal security analyst for the MPP government. But my job, I've been a professional analyst for this is exactly 54 years now. You see, so you may see something, you are telling them, look, be careful, but politicians, they won't listen. Politicians will never listen to you. Look, so now what is it that is happening? When you go to the example of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, you see that the army, they always wait. They wait. Then they will see the temperature, the reaction of the youth. When they see that the youth will massively support any move, then they stage a coup. They stage a coup. Now, what we have in Niger now is a coup d'etat. It is not a coup d'etat. What is in Niger now is an uprising of the youth led by the army. Not one person was shot and killed. So it is irresponsible and, I mean, crazy for the ECOWAS to go and say that they are going to attack the people, those who came to power, they didn't kill anybody. Now you want to go and shed blood so that you put them back to power. And it was also very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. Most of the commanders and generals and advisors who were there advising I'm sure I'm far, far older than most of them. Far, far older than most. Some of them, maybe when they were entering the security service, because I entered in 1969. So what sort of advice is that? You are going, people have come to power. Thousands of people are supporting them. The youth are supporting them. The youth say that you now go and kill people so that you bring this Bazoum or whatever he's called back to power. And you are even endangering the life of this Bazoum, the man who has been overthrown in Niger. You are endangering his life. Why should the corps of soldiers who have staged the coup sit down for you to kill them so that the person they have overthrown becomes president? They'll quickly kill him and his family. Are you not putting the life of that man in danger? So those who went to Abuja and they sat down, common things like this. Common things. The things that we taught them, have they forgotten or what? You are putting the man in danger. There is no general in the whole ECOWAS who is up to my age. At least I am at least 15 years older than the youngest general in the whole ECOWAS. The whole ECOWAS. All their soldiers. And all the commanders. So I'm now telling them. And some of us, we have been to places. I was in the Middle East. We went and set up, this UNIFIL and then UNEF and all those things. Now, 1973, 6th October, I was right. I was in the middle of the war up there in Lebanon. You understand? So I don't know who are advising them. Now, what is it that we should do so that we do not have these things happening? Number one is also to analyze something. These ECOWAS leaders, do you know what have they actually said? I analyze what the Niger guys are saying. They are saying that France has been there for so many years. Now, what France has done is this. The intelligence service in France and the Western countries, they have got to get terrorists. And they are making the terrorists to be attacking and cause instability in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. They are the same ones. Then those French say, oh, we are coming to help you to fight, terrorists. The Islamic State of West African province. But they are the people underground instigating and financing and giving them the information to do the attacks. The French, the General Directorate for External Security, that is the French External Intelligence Service. And they are the ones. Those people are all agents of the intelligence services of Britain, France, and America. They are not terrorists. Those people, they know them. They have been there for 9, 10 years. What are they doing? And sometimes in fact, the Niger people now became white, they say, what is happening? Because when France had they used to use the embassy and smuggle arms in, grenades and all that, and give it to terrorists and then drive them sometimes diplomatic cars, go and leave them in the night, and then they'll attack people. So that they'll create a state of insecurity, and when that insecurity is there, they will now tell you that they are coming to support you. Then they will come and put you there, continue to cause fear and panic, and then they are there looting everything that you have. The French are there, they are mining the diamonds, the gold, and the uranium of Niger. So, ECOWAS, so what do you want to go and do? You want to go and then kill the people of Niger so that France will come and take their uranium free and go away. The uranium that France is harvesting in Niger is 4.5 billion worth every year. They don't pay Niger anything, even less than one quarter. They pay them only $1 billion. And then the uranium that Niger is producing is giving, supplying 1/3 of all the power, electricity requirements of France. And yet when you go to Niger, There are people, 80% of people in Niger, they don't know what is electricity. They have never seen electric bulb before. They don't know it. So I'm giving you the resource. You have gone, you go and empower your people. Then when they do that, they tell their people that people in Niger, they are backward, they are primitive, that they are there. They are there to support them. What sort of support is that? And then you ECOWAS, you mean you don't have any security advisors and analysts to tell those presidents who are there meeting Abuja that you want to go and remove your brother so that France will come and take the resources they free and go away? Is that what you want to do? What ECOWAS should meet and do is they will look at each country where there is corruption, then you get an army to come and fight the government in power there. Fight them, come and tell them and remove them. That is what you should be doing. Not to go and then remove people who are there. In any case, who are you going to fight? Who are you fighting for? Are you fighting for Bazoum? The Bazoum that you see, in fact, that is the first Arab, to be president of Niger. And those Arabs, they are just a small minority in Niger. The majority of the people, their houses. In fact, most of the people in Niger identify with Nigeria. After all, the name is the same. You have Niger and Niger area. Niger area is Nigeria. Niger is the one that is up there. Now, they have a river, the Niger River, that is coming from Niger down to Nigeria. Now, you people went and put a dam there. And then when you were putting the dam, because the river, the source is from Niger, you told the Niger people that this dam that we are making, we will give you some of the electricity so that you don't also put a dam. Because if you put a dam, there will be no water that will come to Nigeria into our dam. You have been given the electricity. Now this problem has come. You are going to cut away the electricity. Now, so what would they do? When things get better, they also put a dam and Nigeria will have nothing. Nigeria will have nothing. And when you cut that electricity, who are you punishing? Are you punishing those who have stayed the coup? You can never punish them. They have got standby generators. Is it not the population that you are suffering, punishing? In any case, the people they say they want the coup d'etat. So who are you fighting for? Are you going to fight for Bazoum, or you are fighting for the general population who say that they want this coup d'etat? They support them. So they are so wrong about this matter. They are so wrong about this matter. ECOWAS will have to sit down, reorganize themselves because they are doing the wrong thing. I don't know who is advising them, And in any case, Nigeria, Boko Haram has been there for all these years. Can you fight them? Why didn't the whole of ECOWAS meet and go and fight Boko Haram? And why are they not fighting Boko Haram? They cannot fight Boko Haram because the Boko Haram people who are there, most of them are being managed by foreign intelligence agencies. They are there to destabilize Nigeria because Nigeria has the population and the money to industrialize and take command and control of the economies of the whole of the ECOWAS region. Because Nigeria's population is exactly half what is the whole of the ECOWAS region. They have the money, they have the resources. All what they do rather is to steal that money and go and put it in Britain. Then when they put it in Britain, in France, in New Zealand, or where is it? Yes, New Zealand and all the other Netherlands, some in America. These people use that money and get the profit. Then they will come and give small to you and say that we are giving you aid. Meanwhile, it is your own money. And how come that these ECOWAS heads of state have met to go and fight their brother Niger so that they will kill the people of Niger so that this Arab who is there will become president. And then France will come and take away their resources. Why are they doing that? They are doing that because the intelligence agencies of France, Britain, and America, they know everything about every one of your heads of state. The money they have stolen, where they have kept in each of the banks, they will come and blackmail you. My friend, this is the money you have stolen. No, look at it, you have put it in this bank. Look, if you don't do this, we'll expose you. They have blackmailed all of them. Tinubu himself, you just had an election. The case is in court. The case is in court. And it has been proven that you, Tinubu of Nigeria, even you were holding a Niger passport, the Tinubu that you know, who is now saying he's president of Nigeria, was holding a Niger passport. That's number one. Number two, some years back, America arrested Tinubu, and then they found drug money on him. So if they come, and then most of them, as I said, a lot of them, they have monies up there. The monies that these heads of state have looted and taken away, the youth of Africa would not have been rising up and then calling for change. They want jobs. They want to have their education. They want to be able to go to the bank and then get money and go and start some business. It isn't that, let's say, a young man, you are earning 400 cedis a month. The 400 cedis can get $400. Before you know, the exchange rate, politicians have awarded contracts, gone to collect all the dollars, the exchange rate has collapsed. Your $400 that you could get from the 400 cedis is now $100. What can you buy with it? And then you say, don't talk, no, don't be talking. You be praising that we are doing very well. Then you see a party will go and say, they are not saying, look, you the youth, we are going to employ 3 million young men in Ghana, for example. None of them says that. They say we are going to break the 8. All what they are thinking of it, we'll come back to power again. We come back to power. Look at your various people, those who say they want to be president and the various parties, look at them. How many of them ought to say he wants to be president? Maybe apart from Mahama. How many of them? Some say, Edrumoso or Edrumoho. It is my time. What sort of nonsense? Is it a pantomime? Is it a wooden horse? It is my time also to become president. Do what? Meanwhile, you have had your time. You were a trade minister and all that. How many sort of factories have you put up and employed the youth? When they put up a sugar factory, this Alan Chemate, you went and destroyed the place. They say it has reached. So the reason why he wants to be president of Ghana is that it is my turn. It is my turn now to be president. How can such people become leaders of Africa? And how can the young not rise against them? And when the youth rise up, it is worse than the military. When they rise, because look, they will have no leader. Every one of us will all be slaughtered and killed. Those of us who have gone through school, I told you I was a top security man. Right from 69, going to 72, I was there. June 4th, when Achampo was being removed, I was there, top security man. And June 4th, I was there, I was a top security man. 81, PNDC, I was there, I was a top security man in Ghana here. I was even outside as an intelligence officer outside. I was there. Who wants a coup? Because anytime they stage the coup, those of us who were in that, you are either sacked, dismissed, or even killed. Even the army, all the security services, both police, nobody wants anybody to stage a coup anywhere because they will never be better than anybody. So those we should fear are the youth. But is it the youth that we should fear? It is because we all say we want democracy, and democracy is about jobs, about giving everybody education, some training, some skills. He can access the hospitals and have his health. He can, go to a bank and collect money and do a business. That is what we should be doing. That is the democracy. It's not the word democracy. Democracy is not just a word. So you see that one man, look at the schools that we have. So many thousands of children, more than 500,000, they don't have food to eat. One person has got millions of citizens and millions of dollars in the house. When they talk, you see that this woman, immediately they talked about this her money. It seems they have formed a powerful, image-making group who are sitting down and doing everything possible to exonerate the woman. Spiritually, it will not work. You make matters worse. So this is what is happening. I'm saying the ECOWAS, they are misadvised. The young people, they are advising the president, they have got everything wrong. The young men of Niger say that they support the coup. You cannot go and kill young men because you want one man to be president. And then you should also know that the coup that was there was a bloodless coup. You cannot go and kill somebody when there was a bloodless coup. But we should start our own coups d'etat, and change our ways of turning every election time into a coup d'etat. And make sure that you don't shoot people, steal ballots, do all manner of things to become distant. To win power. And when you win power, you forget the youth. When you forget the youth, they will rise up. And when the military forces see that the young people are likely to support them, that's when they will also come up and lead them. So what is in Niger is not a coup. It is an uprising led by soldiers who were even not armed. Thank you. God bless all of you. Bye. My time is just 1 minute. I think your watch is wrong.